Hi everybody, it's Austin here, and today in this video, I thought I'd do a little update on my collection. So this is something that I'm going to be doing every year. I want to try and do it every August if I can, but I would like to see. So I think in this one I might go in order from manufacturers, but with diesels I'm going to go, I'm just going to put my diesels out. I have one manufacturer part out. Well, if this makes sense, I might do Bachmann and Rivarossi and Hornby, etc., etc. But with diesels, I will have to lay them all out because the majority of my collection is steam. So hopefully you guys will understand what I mean. Let's get to this. So all my collection stuff will be laid out across the bed right here. Right now I have Bachmann on this side, and in out of order manufacturer purposes of diesels, because I don't have very many diesels in my collection. So we will start with Bachmann. Here we have a New York Central Niagara. This is the Bachmann version with 5016 as a cab number. The Bachmann Norfolk and Western J Class number 611. This is a Bachmann Spectrum 1 DCC fitted, but I took the chip out due to well, the chip's probably reprogrammed to either its cab number or a different number for all I know. So when I get a new DCC controller, I will put the chip back in. I just got to reprogram it. Next up is the vintage Bachmann Burlington Route 484. I actually do like this one a little bit. It's not the best runner, but it does run pretty good nonetheless. The Dixie Line 060. This is from the Bachmann train set with the smoke unit. And my Bachmann Spectrum 482 Light Mountain Type by Union Pacific. This one is a pretty good runner too. I actually really like this one. So now that's all the steam engines by Bachmann, well, except a couple that are British. I'll show those later, but we will go to the diesels. This is my Norfolk Southern Athearn -9. This one is a D9-40CW by a cab number right there. My first train set, my first locomotive since I got back into this hobby, GP40-2. I call it a GP40-2 because if you look right here, it says GP40-2, even though it just says GP40-2R, so that's what I call it, or I call it a GP40, whatever. This one runs, but I think the shell is hugging the chassis. I don't know why, and it makes that really weird noise. It's hard to explain. A Walthers CSX GP15. Really like this one. Just got this one serviced. It's really good. My Santa Fe FT unit, I believe. This I said this one was a an F7 unit, I think, or an F7A, but someone corrected me, said it's a FTA. So do correct me on that. Bachmann Spectrum, Baltimore and Ohio, H1644. Had to get that right. This one's missing some detail, I think, and it's missing some couplers. I'd love to get some couplers for this thing. Lifelike GP38. This one, unfortunately, isn't on runner, sadly. I still gotta look into it as a why. And to pride and joy, the Bachmann DCC factory fitted DDA 40X. This is a really good runner. I love this. So that's all the Bachmann and my diesels. Now we can move on to another manufacturer. Be right back. So now we move on to Broadway Limited. I don't have very many. These are literally all the Broadway Limited stuff I have. And then next up will be Rivarossi. So we'll start with up here, the Pennsylvania Railroad T1 Duplex. This is my first Broadway Limited locomotive ever with the QSI decoder. Not the best decoder because they pretty much copied and pasted chuffing sounds as long as the whistle sometimes, depending on what engine you get. But yeah, there's a T1. My Norfolk and Western Class A 2664. This one is a pretty good runner. I really love this one. The only criticism I have with this is that I accidentally melted part of the funnel. So you can see it's pretty much warped right here after using the smoke fluid. For the love of God, don't use smoke in that thing. I've heard Class A's are very infamous for that. Next up we have another Niagara, New York Central's Broadway Limited Niagara, or Broadway Limited's New York Central Niagara, number 60L2. I really love this one. This one's got a really good sound to it. Paragon 3, as long as with the Class A. I use smoke on this one a lot, and for some odd reason, the funnel is never warped. I don't know why, and I don't want to probably shouldn't question that before I speak too soon, unlike the Class A. But yeah, there's a Niagara, and we'll probably get to my favorite, the New Haven I-5, entirely made of brass. This one is really, really good. It's got good sound. It's a good runner. probably as long as you keep the wheels clean. I had this one run a lot, and for some reason it would really stutter, and I think for some reason I might have gotten the wheels clean or something, and it runs really well, so very odd. And next up is my first ever Blue Line Broadway Limited Pennsylvania J1. Really happy to have this one. It's not the best runner in the world. I would love to see why it jerks a little bit, but oh well. Might have to see if I can get another one, but hey, you know, this one's still pretty good. Can't complain. I'm happy I got a J1 because I'm a Pennsy sucker and I love the J1. It's like my second favorite locomotive of all time by the Pensies. So that is my Broadway Limited stuff. Now we move on to Rivarossi, and as you can see, I have a bit of a problem. I have a lot of Rivarossi stuff. I think I have more Rivarossi than anything. Yeah. Anyways, let's start, and I couldn't help but start with the one that started it all for me. The standard Dreyfus. This one's a pretty good runner. And we move on to my second Rivarossi, even though this one's dead. The AHM 4272 cap forward, the AC11. Norfolk and Western Y6B, number 2197. This one's a pretty good runner too. I actually really like this one a lot. The Empire State Express. This one is my first rare Rivarossi engine. This one's a really good runner. It just needs some new traction tires, and I haven't gotten around to getting those. Traction tires are very hard to find, so you guys are going to have to bear with me. Next up, we go to the Dreyfus with the Skull and Drivers and Centipede Tender. Really rare, this one. This one is I've been looking for this one for like 2 years, and I'm so happy to have one. This one also needs traction tires, but it is still pretty powerful. Pretty much not as powerful as it did when it had traction tires. Next up, we go to two of my most favorite models ever. We'll only go to one of them though. My favorite is the Milwaukee Road F7 Hiawatha. This one is, oh, I love this one. Really love this one. Traction tire keeps coming off annoyingly when I put like 5 to 6 cars behind it, but I just really love this one so much. Next up is Rivarossi John Wilkes Lehigh Valley. This one is really good. I absolutely love this one. I love the streamlining on it. It's one of my favorites. This thing is just so awesome. Next up, we get to the Hornby era Rivarossi. This is one of my Super Hudsons. This is a 5438. It's got a modern drive. It's got flywheel. It doesn't have the spring-loaded tension on the drawbar. It's got the tension wire from loco to tender. This one runs exceptionally well. I love this one a lot. Next up, we get to my most recent purchase, the Rivarossi Southern PS4 1401. This one runs really good. I absolutely love this one. I just gotta get some coaches for it. Next up, I just recently brought this back because this gave me a bit of running issues. My Union Pacific FEF-3, number 838. I love this one a lot. Now, I have no idea that this one was preserved, although it is being used as parts for 844, so please stop criticizing me on that. I didn't know this thing was preserved, so yeah. Next up, we go to, this isn't really Rivarossi, it's mostly Mahano, but I just thought I'd put it in here anyway, because it's literally the only Mahano engine I have. This is my IHC, or like I said, Mahano Alton Limited. I love this one a lot. This one runs really smoothly. Love this one. And this is probably the best cab forward I ever got. My AC12 4294 Southern Pacific cab forward. This one runs really good. I love this one. And now we probably get to, I'll show the whole set, but we get to the rarest locomotive I have in my collection. The Rivarossi Concours is pretty much a mixture of two. The passengers are Concours, but the engine is Rivarossi. My Chesapeake and Ohio L1 Hudson. This one runs exceptionally well, and it's a pretty special engine to me. And once I'm done with it, I put everything back in this box, because it's such a really beautiful set. Alright, now let's move on, shall we? And I probably should mention that that's all the Rivarossi stuff I have. So there you go. So now we get onto the rest of my collection. I did plan to have Hornby and all that on here, but there are also some other stuff that I forgot to show because I was so focused on making this video, so we'll get to that now. So the first one is two Bachmann Branchline. These are like the United Kingdom versions of Bachmann. We have Sir Nigel Gresley. This one runs excellently. This is in the British Railways blue, the early blue, I think, probably before they all got painted to green, because you can see the early emblem on there. Then we move on to Silver Fox. This one does run, but I think it does have some issues. It's pretty hard to look into. These are old Bachmann, by the way. These are probably from like just before DCC was a thing. So they still have the split chassis thing. So there's that. Now we get on to Hornby. This is a Hornby Flying Scotsman, the tender-driven one. This is probably from the mid-2000s, but it's still a really great runner. I really do love this one. Really happy to have a Flying Scotsman. Next up, we have Tornado 60163. This is a modern Hornby railroad model. This one runs excellently. I really do love this one. And now we get to my favorite class of British engines of all time, the A4s. This one is Seagull. It's a vintage one. This one does run okay. You can see the wheels are tucked into the tender there. I can easily pull these out, but I think the tender's got a little bit of an issue, but it does run pretty good, so can't complain about that. Next up, my favorite vintage A4 by far, Sir Ralph Wedgwood. I believe this one may be from the 90s. I could be wrong, but it does run really, really good. Yeah, this one's smooth, silent. It's everything you can ask for. Now we get to the Hornby model that started it all, the Mallard. How could I not add this one in? This is a Hornby Railroad model. I bought it back in 2017. Runs really good. All-wheel pickup, all driving wheels and tender wheels, minus the trailer truck and the front truck. But yeah, it is the Mallard. I absolutely love this one. Love this one to death. I just couldn't go without a Mallard in my collection. So there's that. Next up, we have another A4 called a Golden Plover. This one gave me a couple of issues, but I did get it running eventually. I actually don't know if this one runs or not. I haven't ran it in a while, but there's a Golden Plover. Next up is the P2 class, Cock of the North, haha. This one is a limited edition glossy version. As you can see, the light reflecting off of the paint scheme right there is really, really good. This one runs really well, though the valve gear there, if you can see it, has given me some issues. I don't know why, it's just how it is. Now we got to my recent Hornby model, the Class 58. This one is a really good runner. I really do love this one. I had heard some stories about the motors in these guys burning out very easily and catching fire, so I'm definitely going to have to look out for that one. Next up is Thomas Friends models. We have D261, really rare this one. This one, he is a really good runner. I really do love him to death. Love that one. Next up we have the Hornby Emily. And if you guys ask, no, I do not regret buying this model. I love this model to death. Yes, it's not the accurate Emily, but I could care less. I love this Emily. I know you guys hate it, but hey, I really, really love it. So there's Emily. Next up we have two Thomases, one by Hornby and one by Bachmann. This one is literally the only Bachmann Thomas model that I have. It runs okay, but I still have to keep an eye on this one because I know these guys are known to burn out very easily. The Hornby Thomas, however, this one is a survivor. This one is a it does have the open frame motor, which is known for burning out, but hey, you know, this one hasn't given me some trouble. Really do love that one. Really do. Next we get to my first ever Hornby Thomas model. We have the Hornby Gordon. This one runs exceptionally well, and I got a really good deal on this one, and I was so mind blown that it basically looked brand new. It doesn't even he hasn't even been used. Yeah, I love this one a lot. That's the Hornby Gordon. So next up is the Hornby James. This one, he runs pretty good too. He did give me a couple issues when I first got him, but other than that, he does run really well. Next up is Henry. Henry is actually burnt out. The seller did mention that the motor is about to be worn out, and he probably wasn't kidding. And he shorted out one day, and yeah, his motor went. So I'm gonna have to get either a new Henry or maybe replace the chassis. I don't know, or maybe replace the drawbar because as you can see, the pickups are bent. Try and get that in focus. Can't focus because it wants to focus on the background. Come on. There we go. See? You guys can see that the pickups are bent pretty badly. So, yeah. I'm not sure what to do with this one. But, might have to see if I can find another Henry at least. Henry's pretty hard to find now. So, yeah. Next up, we have Toby and Percy. Toby is I've always wanted Toby. He's a really good runner, Toby. Percy is, like, one of those famous pocket rocket models by Hornby. If I can get him in focus. There we go. Yeah, Percy's a really good runner, that one. And now we get to my Hawthorne Village and my FT unit, I think. These are the three that I I actually forgot to show in my diesel collection, but yeah, there they are. This one's DCC fitted Thunder Chief one, and this one, these two are just a standard DC. But yeah, these two are really good runners. Same with this one. This one's got really good sound. Now we got up to 3 of my Rivarossi models. My Rivarossi Blue Comet. This one runs pretty good too, though I still have to keep an eye on this one. But yeah, that's the Blue Comet. My Redbox President Fillmore. I actually don't really run this one very often. I don't know why. Yeah, it does run pretty good though. That's President Fillmore. In Baltimore and Ohio, if you can see it right there. Next up is my really beat up standard New York Central Hudson number 5405. This one runs okay. It's not the most decent runner in the world, but it does run pretty good nonetheless. You can probably see a bit of stairs missing right here. So yeah, that's the New York Central Hudson. And now we get to my last model, the collection. This one is a power model. I would say F unit, maybe F7. I'm not an expert on these diesels, so you guys are gonna tell me. This guy, I don't really run very often at all. I bought this so cheaply. I pretty much basically use this as maybe a test unit or something like that. But yeah. So that is my entire collection. If you counted, let me know how many models I have, because I know I have a lot. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody. Right, well done for making it to the very end. There are 4 more models that I actually forgot about. Right now it is past midnight. It's August 28th, I mean. And I filmed that video on August 24th, so that's 4 days ago. Or just about 4 days ago. So we will get to the models I have forgotten about. First of all, we will go to here. These are my limited edition runs of A4s. This one is Commonwealth of Australia. This came out back in 2012 to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the coronation. So there's that. The coronation train I made for the London Northeastern Railway. This one is a very limited run, Union in South Africa. This is for the Hornby's Great Goodbye edition. Was really lucky to get this one. And here is Bittern. This is a twin tender one. This is Hornby's latest release of Bittern, and I'm really happy to have this one. And next one, last but not least, this is my Bachmann Spectrum Pennsylvania K4. The streamlined version. I did not have this thing very long. The motor on this thing is actually shorted because I actually had an accident with this thing. For what reason, I probably do not wish to talk about it, because while I was trying to get this thing back in its box to move up to my new bedroom, yeah, I had an accident with it. So yeah, until I get a new one, maybe I might tell a story on this one. So with that, that is my entire collection, so I do apologize for that. So yeah, alright, take care guys.